Hello my good friends, Jesse here. I made this video because occasionally I tend to go back to some of the older videos we've made on this channel to see whether we should make another correction video, as it is always possible that we need to make some updates. And I stumbled upon our explaining Gammamon Digivolution line video. The link towards it is in the description box. When I looked carefully at the thumbnail, I realized that there is in fact a Digimon missing. Well, to be fair, Digimon tend to have way too many Digivolution in their lines, so obviously some will be missing. However, there is one Digimon in particular that I felt I had to make a separate video for, but for that I will briefly give you some context. As you know, the GOMAMON species are aquatic and essentially polar Digimon. It belongs to a type of Digimon who live in the frosted areas of the digital world, and over there it developed in its own way. One line will push it to digivolve into Ikakumon, a Digimon with a sharp horn that is made of mithril. Mithril being a legendary rare metal based on the mithril from the Lord of the Rings universe. That's where it came from. And interestingly, mithril is stronger than steel while being lighter than aluminium. Many weapons and armor have been made from that material, not just in the Lord of the Rings franchise, but also in Dungeons & Dragons, Final Fantasy, or in our case, in the Digimon franchise on Ikakumon's horn. And mind you, Ikakumon isn't the only Digimon who has something made of mithril. Anyway, the other path Gomamon can take outside of Ikakumon would be the path of Mojyamon, a rare animal Digimon who lives in the hinterland of snowy mountains. This explains why it is a rare Digimon, as it is very rare to come across one. It's a bit hard to tell why someone would love to venture around snowy mountains with cold that goes way below sub-zero temperature. Story tells that there are many reported sightings of Mojyamon, but no evidence to prove its existence. That's why, for a long period, it was considered to be a Digimon based on myth. And I'm wondering if you remember what myth I am talking about. If not, and if you don't remember from the Explaining Gammamon Digivolution line video where we dissected Mojyamon, well, this Digimon is based on the Yeti, also known as the Abominable Snowman. We're talking about a legendary ape-like creature said to inhabit the Himalayas. Stories of the Yeti come from Tibetan and Nepalese folklore, where it is often depicted as a large, shaggy, humanoid beast, sometimes seen as a guardian of the mountains, or even a supernatural being. Western explorers and mountaineers popularized the legend in the 19th and 20th century after reports of large footprints on the snow. And despite various expeditions and supposed evidence, like hair samples and footprints, no scientific proof of the Yeti's existence has been found, and many sightings are attributed to misidentified animals such as bears. So we still don't know whether the Yeti truly exists or not, which explains the mystery behind Mojyamon's existence, as it took the entirety of its background story from the Yeti. Now, as I said, Mojyamon is going to be the most important subject of this video because there is another one of its variants that I actually forgot to discuss in the Explaining Gammamon video. You see, the Yeti has often been displayed with having white fur, obviously because of the snow. However, in some pictures, the Yeti has been depicted with having brown fur instead. And the same goes with Mojyamon. Its other variant that I forgot to explain is J Mojyamon, with J being a reference to jungle, hence Jungle Mojyamon, in reference to the ecosystem it resides in. Instead of living high in the snowy mountains, it inhabits the depth of the jungle. I did forget to talk about J Mojyamon in the Gammamon video, hence why I'm actually making this video. However, I'm not just going to focus on this Digimon, otherwise it's going to be a bit of a letdown. I'll be giving you a little extra in a moment. While J Mojyamon may live in a different area, it still has the same tradition and habits Mojyamon has, mainly to consider its den and territory to be sacred ground. That's why it will never permit its sacred ground to be invaded whatsoever. That's why Mojyamon gets into territorial disputes with other Digimon such as Hyugamon, a species of OGREMON that inhabits cold places. We talked about the OGREMON line in the Explaining OGREMON video. Check the link in the description box if you haven't watched it already. Interestingly, if Hyugamon tends to have territorial disputes with Mojyamon, I think that it is safe to assume that Jungle Mojyamon also would have territorial disputes with Fugamon, another Digimon who belongs to the same family as Ullrmon, but who probably lives in the jungle also. And being part of the OGREMON line explains why it also sports the same violent, battle-loving personality. Now, the reason why I'm talking about Mojyamon, Hyugamon and Fugamon is because despite their rivalry, there is someone named Zemekiel_Mons on X who made a fusion of Hyugamon and Mojyamon, and also a fusion between Fugamon and Jungle Mojyamon. At least that's how I understood it. This brings us to these two Digimon who are recolored versions of each other, which is obviously very normal considering the component Digimon. These Digimon did not get a name and didn't get much information aside of the fact that it is a demon beast from the snowy mountains that hunts undead Digimon because it loves chewing and cracking their bones. It really is a fusion of the two. I can see the Ogremon influenced with the horns, the teeth, and I'd say the belt also, as those in the Ogremon line have clothing to an extent. And I can also see the Mojyamon line when looking at the body shape, the hairs, and the circle symbol under the feet. So definitely an interesting design. Just too bad we didn't get more of a background story, but it's okay. You can find the link toward the author's page in the description box. However, we are not done yet. We're getting to the fun part. You see, these two fused Digimon are themselves inspired by another fan-made Digivolution line. You see, in the post of Zemekiel_Mons was written that the two Digimon were made after the author had seen a Digimon created by Yokaiju1 also on X. And I will put the page of Yokaiju1 in the description box. Yokaiju1 had created an ultimate and mega level for Mojyamon, which are really incredible to say the least. Let me introduce you to Yetimon. Luckily for us, we were given a bit of a background story that will help us understand who we are looking at. So my compliments already. Yetimon is rumored to lurk the frozen wastes of the digital world. This titanic Digimon is a sullen beast that can crush its enemies with its frozen arm or freeze them with its ice-cold flame. You know, when I look at the design, I have so many reasons to love it. The braids on its back reminds me a bit of those characters in Norse mythology who sometimes are depicted living in cold areas with lots of snow. I love that it still has the circle symbol of Mojyamon on its feet and on its thumb. On its right hand, it looks to have this bracelet which almost looks like a holy ring, except that it is black. I'm wondering if that ring would have certain properties, knowing that Mojyamon was quite the spiritual creature. I absolutely love that Yetimon really became a Yeti Digimon and followed the Yeti path, as Mojyamon was more monkey-like than an actual Yeti. Its design was based on the Yeti, but it never truly became a Yeti, unfortunately. So to have an actual Yetimon with this look is crazy, and it sure does look cold and terrifying. It would be the reason why many wouldn't want to climb up the mountains, because to encounter such a beast in an environment that is freezing, I think it would be no different than coming across a polar bear, who is said to be the most dangerous bear. The frozen arm, by the way, is also an extremely nice touch, so it's really a wonderful design for a Mojyamon Ultimate level. I love it when certain themes come back. And you know what? We are not done yet. There's a last and final Digimon to explain. Yokaiju1 has made a mega level form for Yetimon, namely Ullrmon. And boy, this one is so crazy looking. It absolutely looked like an official Digimon, and when you'll get to understand its background story, you will quickly come to understand that it all makes absolute sense. You see, Yokaiju1 explains that Ullrmon is a powerful ice Digimon, often called Rime Lord due to its powerful freezing abilities. The frozen bow, Idleir, may split in twain for use as dual access up close, or it can shoot its mighty frostbite arrows. There is a lot that needs to be explained from this piece of information, so I would suggest that you sit tight and let me start by going over the name first. Ullrmon's name is in reference of Ullr, a Norse god associated with winter, archery, hunting and skiing. He is often depicted as a skilled warrior and outdoorsman, making him a patron of hunters and those who rely on survival skills in harsh conditions. Some sources also suggest he may have been a god of oath and duels. His connection to skiing and winter makes him a popular figure among modern skiers and winter sports enthusiasts. While Ullr doesn't appear much in the surviving Norse myth, he was important enough to have places named after him. In Norway, for example, there's a hill called Ullr's Hill, and there are many places like that who are named after Ullr, not just in Norway but also in Sweden and Iceland. The frozen bow called Idalir that Ullrmon is carrying has a name that is based on a location that goes by the same name. Idalir is known as the home of the god Ullr. The name suggests a place rich in yew trees, which were traditionally used to make bows. While not much is detailed about Idalir in surviving texts, it is mentioned in the Grimmismal, a poem from the Poetic Edda, that it is Ullr's residence. Given Ullr's association with winter and survival skills, Idalir is often imagined as a cold, forested region, ideal for hunting and archery. Ullrmon carries the title of Rime Lord, right? It is in fact a title that had gotten me so confused, so I had to start digging. I did not really know where it might have come from, but I think that the title came from a character in the web series that is called Critical Role. There's a character in that series that is called Erevan. It's an ice elemental behemoth who is also a primordial titan who escaped the plane of ice and attempted to invade and subjugate the continent Tal'Dorei, and Erevan had blanketed the place in an eternal winter. So, considering the power of Erevan and what it has done, I think that the name Rime Lord is much of a compliment to Ullrmon. So, looking at Yetimon's mega level like that, I think that the work is absolutely phenomenal. It is absolutely worthy of being part of the official Digimon out there. In fact, it could even compete with SKADIMON, who we discussed in the Explaining FRIGIMON video. Remember SKADIMON? It is based on the Norse goddess Skadi, who is known as the goddess of winter, mountains, hunting, and also skiing. So it's basically the same as the god Ullr. That's why their Digimon versions are both seen wearing skis. As the god Ullr and the goddess Skadi are both Norse gods associated with winter, hunting, skiing and archery, they are depicted as skilled hunters and survivalists who thrive in cold, mountainous regions. While Ullr is primarily known as the god of skiing and dueling, Skadi is a giantess and goddess of winter, often linked to hunting and wilderness. Their shared domains suggest that they might have had overlapping roles or even a connection in ancient beliefs, even if their myths are separate. But seriously, aside of the stories of these gods, I really think that Ullrmon is really extremely underrated. It has a crazy killer story, a crazy killer background, and it simply could have been a Digimon that was officialized in the Digimon franchise. I so hope that Ullrmon has some chance to get accepted as an official Digimon to join the Mojyamon line. So guys, I'm glad I found this amazing fan-made Digimon. There are so many of them. Seriously, the Digimon community is so talented, it's really unbelievable, and that's why I created a separate playlist to honor all of your works. If you guys are curious to see more Digimon fan arts, please make sure to consult the playlist. It will always be updated, that way you can catch up on the newest and the oldest fan-made Digimon. Also, what do you guys think of Jungle Mojyamon now? I'm glad I gave it attention, otherwise it would never really have gotten a video. How do you think of Yetimon and Ullrmon? How do you think of the fusion between Mojyamon and Yogamon? Let me know in the comment section. Please don't forget to like the video and to subscribe. You won't regret subscribing. That is, if you love Digimon the way I do.